the game theory you shared for maybe applying this to the allocations of future resources, maybe on the pod that we are redistributing, not like maybe the main mechanism, or we can just adapt this, or having this kind of just thinking about the game theory, but also having the other mechanisms we were thinking about, minting things and having the energy redistribution. So it's super interesting having this at hand.
Yeah. No, totally. And also the question is, let me see if I know what I'm sharing. Yeah. So this is the this is so Lydia, right now we have quite some interesting sorting to do, or it's getting interesting both with the Conscience Library and this research that we have going on with, okay, how can we embed or host multiple different working styles. I mean, ours anyways, it's everything very asynchronous. And then how can we also experiment with distribution of funds? You know, we have, I think we have 15K for this prototyping the Conscience Library, and then we wanted to play with the distribution of it. So that will be a topic, and maybe we can, first. I know it's an important topic for the people contributing, but at the same time, Lydia is also trying to sync up with Omega with respect to token engineering ethics, the focus groups, and she wanted to already start in July. We knew it's going to be hard with all the community events going on in Europe. So, but still, now that we have her here, if all of you are okay, maybe we reserve the first half hour to synchronize. How can we help, or how can we support with the focus groups, and also any questions, Lydia, that you have. Do you need feedback? I raise my hand to provide anything that anything in addition, if there is needed. But it would be great if we use the first half hour to sync.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot. Yes, I think that would be great. I mean, because we were like I think some weeks we were just the two of us, I think with Merit, and we already discussed
Yeah.
it with like some of the questions, but it was a bit like some questions were a bit difficult, or like we wanted to discuss this in a bigger round.
Yeah.
Yes,
Just
and I don't know if
looking.
you Yes, did you have a look on the Google Docs I
Yeah.
put on the link? Yes, so this was a bit the idea of Felix and me.
Can you
Yeah,
share again?
of course, I
I'm
can do.
looking.
Hi everyone, I'm here as well. I'm Felix.
Hi,
I'm
Felix.
doing the other focus group, one in August.
Do you already, for example, are you well connected, and do you know how to gather focus group of token engineers? Can we support you in that? Like, we should definitely get T Commons, other working groups, or Steward to help with that. I mean, Lydia.
That would be great if you could help us on that, because
Okay.
this is actually one of the two things we wanted to ask you for. Is support in getting enough and good and interested participants to the focus groups.
Right. So do you have some things in mind, because you're coming from the right background, the background that we were lacking? Like, how how diverse should the group be? Maybe T ethics focus group.
Yes, it's now updated the channel, so you can. I will share the document in the Omega main one, so we can see.
In terms of diversity, I think the first question is how many people do you expect we can gather?
So if we directly ask and we motivate well, then the first focus group we had, actually everyone showed up, and I think we were 6 or 7 practicing token engineers. And
Okay.
yeah.
That
So
would, I think, like we said that we would need at least 5 to 7,
okay.
and upper end would be like 15.
Mm-hmm.
Be around 15. So I think if we're already on the lower end, let's say screening for diversity would then even more reduce the
Yeah.
pool of participants. So I think as long as we don't have more than 15, we would just take everyone in the group, like into the focus group.
Okay.
And then maybe like if it's too many, then maybe just correct for obvious bias.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, just to keep it pragmatic.
And one thing, I will look, or let us get the documents. Just one question. For example, one thing that is always coming up is like, who is a token engineer? And the typical idea that we have is like people with the engineering heavy background, right? But more and more we realize, see, accept, and also want to foster actually, the humanities side of this cryptoeconomics flower is super important and needed within DAOs, not just doing token engineering. And then also the like how much token network participants should be knowledgeable about the token economics, because basically they're voting, and then sometimes they need to actually participate in more complex mechanisms, and so on. So what do you think about that? With respect to background, or is it that may depend on the focus group discussion?
I think it depends on the focus group discussion. So
Right.
I think for the first one, it's much more open. But I think it would be I would say it would be interesting to have kind of diversity with regard to new members, old members, what you just mentioned, the background, and also, of course, geographical diversity. Yes, but I'm just thinking because for my focus group discussion, like because if we speak about value system, it's a very broad
Yeah.
topic. We can, I think that the problem would be if we would need more focus groups just to define maybe what are important values. So my idea would be maybe to start with 1 or 2 values with like in the first focus group discussion, and to really go into deep, like I don't know, like 2, 3 important values. But yeah, we were discussing this also the last time, and we were a bit unsure, like what could be 2, 3 core values. And yeah, so this is my question to you, to all of you. If like I don't know, the discussion you had, the research you already did, is there like 2, 3 values you deem like as important, or you would like to discover more? I'm just being also a bit
Yeah,
pragmatic because yeah, we need to if otherwise it's getting too loose for the two. We need to know
totally. So that's why I understand that, for example, when you say value system of TEC, right? Then it is very clear who we ask and so on, and we have it even written up. And we can start with this, but I'd like to have at least one question is how representative is the setup?
Yeah, that's like, I mean, back to the original question, we were discussing like what is the social methodology we are really following to have any kind of study being done within the tech, because we have
Yeah.
like, stated missing and missing values, but that was really established by the original people that were like the stewards or the original people working within the tech. But if we are studying now what are these systems, or are we studying really like if these values are being implemented with a qualitative criteria, or are we redesigning or asking for the sample, this new sample, to say, okay, do you feel connected with the values we stated at the beginning? So I see like the two very different things, right? One is like qualitative and quantitatively asking if the missing fixing values are being established and followed, and the other is like redesigning for the optimization of the system in a way, right? Like saying what did you see is not according with your values in the system. And yes, people are super different in the different circles, let's see, of this ecosystem.
And so one very big thing that we state is ethical approach and so on. And I think even if we would just get at that, e.g. ethics, and then the questions that you're formulating, that will be the focus group will revolve around these questions, right? How are these values actually put into practice? I think that covers, Letty, what you're saying, like from the focus group through these discussions, we will see like how is it in practice, right? Or Lydia,
That's the
Felix,
idea, but I'm super concerned this will be too broad, because we will not do like focus group sessions around the value system, and we will not have 5-6 sessions. We will have maybe one, and if we see like to be also pragmatic and realistic. Now, like let's say we start with one, we see okay there's huge potential, we can maybe do another one. But if like I think for me this topic of ethics, it's a bit too broad.
Or maybe we can stay on ethics, but ethics in already go to ethics in some regard, or
Yeah, that's
what's
a
an
tricky
ethical
question
decision?
too, because you cannot downside ethics to one single question, because all of them are interrelated, really. So you are just engineering the system to get your answers.
Yeah, I mean, do we have any kind of qualitative way to measure what ethics
That's
are?
the Weaver method.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
qualitative
ethical.
approach is not about measuring. It's not
So
about
okay,
measuring. Yeah,
how?
I mean, I see that the problem, we pick 1 or 2 values, and I see also like what you are saying, no, that this like we will disregard or downguard certain issues. But I'm just like from my experience, it would be better to have a more specific topic, because for me, I will also prepare some like questions for the focus group discussion, and I don't know.
Okay, so what if you don't have to give an example from this, but what would be a more focused question, or what would you suggest? Like, I mean, here, values, human-centered advancement, anything over short-term profits. And seriously, literally, not even pre-hedges already. Oh, we have to make profits. Otherwise, the token is going to tank. I mean, these are so obvious dissonance. Why aren't we going into this? Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's interesting. It's not funny maybe, but it is interesting that it's so in our faces. Yet, I mean, I would love to focus on that. I don't know. Well, what do you think? Like, question. When you say value system, should we not look into this? Here on the landing page, we have all these things stated, right? Sustainable ethical design.
I mean,
ethical
I
say
had the look
diverge.
like what you written, and I also put down two examples, like just what I was reading from the documents like you created before. And I think one was, for example, self-sovereignty, and the other one co-creation, like as an example of a
Yeah.
radical inclusion. But I'm also not sure. But now you mentioned
Human
No. That's no.
human-centric and
no short-term profit focus.
Yeah. Do you see my screen? I don't know. 1 second.
I only
Yeah,
see
you
one
see.
spot for.
Yeah, I
So
can see it.
I guess that's the values
So
we're referring to.
human-centered. Okay.
we can really say, okay, let's what is the value system? We worked lots on it, and it is stated right on our site. We go. And then, to be honest, yeah, we don't have to pick any one of those, but let's at least pick something that is here under values. Radically open source, non-hierarchical, and I think that's cool. There are things that you say, oh yeah, like this is happening, transparent in their intentions, accountable for their actions, and so on. And then also things that are, as soon as
Yes,
look at the economics, and then okay, we didn't find a surefire way of figuring out public goods funding, like no one has. But we will continue emphasizing that over short-term profits, and at the same time we have this very alarmistic thread that got started somehow, and that's a super interesting question, right?
Okay, but I think we maybe understand better now your objection against picking. Or, I mean, we were also asking whether we asked you to suggest 2 or 3 values, also in terms of, do you see an issue with any of these? Is there a need to discuss them or to discuss their application, their practical application in what TSC does? But if you would rather focus on establishing some foundations for an ethical compass or map, sure. I think we don't want to object to that.
No. No problem
I have a
at all.
question about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we write all this stuff, but the fact is that in working groups, we'll often just go, well, it just needs to get done. So we'll choose some short term, something that seems best for us at that moment, not in the Omega group, not having a discussion about ethics, nothing. We just choose the pragmatic almost every time, in my estimation, and then just move forward. And then only later on do we go, oh geez, because we could do that thing, we also thought that we should do that thing, right? And so when we unintentionally or unconsciously smush the could and the should together, that seems to me to be an ethical problem, right? And so, but I also don't see a lot of other stewards coming in and having deep ethical discussions, because they're so busy doing things, right, that they don't necessarily spend the time on it. So it's great to say all this stuff, but if we don't have practical tools that are enforced by the people who are running working groups according to those things, then they're just practically useless.
And I mean, that's the life of a token engineer too, like or any tech person, to be honest.
Well, I guess that's the how operations around really in every any organization we are working with. Token engineering commons is just a reflection of the general problems we are having with standing up for ethics and standing up for this. If you want to say corporate responsibility in a sense. So it's like, yes, we learn as we go along, and we learn that systems are very hard to change from the core. And it's like we are a reflection of the actions we do. And even if we agree and say and proclaim we are upholding a kind of values, if that's not practical, there is a huge gap. And that's just a dissonance that is so resonant across the system that the system falls by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I mean,
and the problem
this
is,
should be optimally all discussions that might start now should come in the focus group discussion. So
Right.
that's why I'm going to, cut it a bit short. We're not, or yes, come to the focus group. I just want to understand or help that we all get a clear picture what Lydia and Felix need to be able to um, do this or accompany and as focus groups. And one thing I'm seeing now is so the first one, value systems of tech community. And if we look here, for example, the first focus group would be about really talking about those, right? What are they? Is everyone in the know? And what I see here is the other two, or the second focus group, private profit versus common benefit. That seems to be reflected in this one issue that we have. We say here we prioritize advancements of token engineering over short-term profits, but now all of a sudden, we say, oh God, we need to find ways to make revenues, otherwise the token is going to tank. And then also that immediately creates the question, oh, wait a second, wasn't this token supposed to incentivize open source creation and sharing of token engineering tools, resources, learning materials, what have you, so that people can make use of this token engineering public good and create sustainable, ethical token economies? So that would be the second focus group. How are we going to balance private profit versus common benefit? Where do these revenues come from, and why should, whatever mechanisms we come up with, those participants share their revenue for common benefit and share their IP in open source for common benefit versus having private profit?
Right. So I thought that in this sense, but also in the sense of tokens becoming unlocked soon, and really the question for individuals: do they sell their tokens or part of the tokens as long as the price is still up, or do they keep on holding them?
Now it is possible because there was a vesting period, and I think it was like 6 months, and we're coming very soon to that.
Yeah.
And vesting period that was optimized in the original token design.
Mm-hmm. We will have data from actual activities and so on, right? And then the focus groups. Mm-hmm.
well, I'm more concerned about short-term thinking than I am about people thinking about short-term profits. And if short-term thinking leads to short-term profit taking, right? So so that's, I guess, where I was coming from. Plus, not all profit is short-term in its thinking, right? So because we're thinking about that and like have a Sampo group and things now doesn't mean that that's necessarily short-term thinking.
But I think these, I guess we need to have some hypotheses around what the focus groups will yield and not. But how do members reason about buying, selling, or holding tech? That is exactly the discussion that is going on. If you want people not losing faith, then you need to show revenues, and then okay, how does that fit with public goods funding. I'm looking for this thread. So please share anything more that you might have there.
Yes, I mean,
I think this will be solved in a little sense with the risk aversion or like being to invest it into the system. So it will be like an economic incentive as well. So as long as you are very invested into the system, and if we think only in a pure economic sense, right, you will be wanting to maximize your already invested energy and funds, so you will be holding, I guess. And if you are more risk averse and you're expecting sure profits and you have all the investments and you're really diversified, maybe an investor as such that can be also here in the token engineering commons, because we know we have like original token designers, so they are also invested in other ecosystem. So you will be opting out because you don't see like this public good is really being realized. So maybe you opt to exit. This will be, like, I guess, the economic or the risk aversion versus holding investments in the community.
And yeah, go ahead, please.
Not just. I think all of that really belongs into the focus group. I'm happy that we already wanna kind of start talking about specific issues in there. But we're gonna prepare some text, like a paragraph each, as an invitation to the focus group, and basically bring to paper what we just talked about and what the feedback we got from you. With our own ideas.
Yeah. So okay, and then I think here, or let me finish that one thought if that is happening. So now here we see. Go ahead.
Not just one question for us also with the timing, no? Because you said we in the beginning that maybe July might be difficult because people might be there are a lot of community events, so people might not be available. So the idea I mean, we are flexible. We can also do it in August, no?
Yeah.
We can also do both focus groups in August.
Yeah, I mean, the last week of July could be good.
Again?
The last week of July could be good. You know, all events are ending, and if we end or beginning of August, we should definitely get one before August, because what happens in August is everyone is on vacation.
Yeah.
So I guess we will need to. I would definitely.
How about 25th or 26th? Because after that it would be difficult for us.
25th, 26th, in 2 weeks. Let's try, because the first focus group, it seems to be, I'm not saying simple, but like easy to organize. I would just say, I think these were basically ideas of how to, you know.
Yeah, I think we now like we took out from the discussion that like we keep it a bit not focused on like these values, but more on okay, what are like asking people, okay, what are your ethical principles as a token engineer, and what do you do to put them into practice?
But that was solved in the mirror board we have like at the very beginning. So there was like it is not a big sample, but it was like quite a case sample, and those were exactly the questions we asked. Where you have the background.
Yeah, but still, I mean that's why. I mean, it was conducted, and it was a
well, it
focus
was
group,
like synchronous,
but
like in a way of creative way.
yeah, but so my suggestion will be, and that's somehow either bringing the token engineering ethics trail.
So it's like being scientific about really how these values are being implemented. So I think that's the ethical question right now. It's like having this gauging or where you really like the gap between the statement and reality. So that's qualitative too.
I mean,
like what's really happening.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So No, I'm trying to help so Lydia and Felix are saying, okay, we need to keep the focus groups focused, else it's going to be difficult to analyze and so on. Totally agree. So, and I'm trying to help there, but at the same time, the T ethics, or definitely I would love to have an update or a proper conducted focus group on T ethics. Also from our side, maybe better prepared with more concrete questions. And there, my suggestion would be, keep this biosystems, what are the biosystems and so on, how ethics will come up, but at the same time, this whole profit thing will also come up. And on the second one, we focus on private profit versus common benefit. How do people react? Short-term thinking will come up in those focus groups. And the third focus group could be or should be about token engineering ethics. And especially because we put it up there, but there is literally no resources other than Zargam's article or so, really coming from as a public good to be used by token engineers, right? So, and our attempt basically to try and create principles and practice sessions was really good. But again, I had, for example, issues with it having to be funded somehow and having to find, funding ethics research about ethics, having to ask and then go and having to market it. We even had discussions about, oh, we need to make ethics sexy. And for me, it's really, I don't know. Like that, I would love to have a focus group on that, and then almost like offer that as a challenge to the community, and then leave it at that. It's kind of my thinking.
Can I suggest that we maybe look at the stuff that Manu was dealing with the Amartya Sen's capabilities approach, which seems to meld all the parts together about the ethics with the capacity of the individuals, right?
But it's not only individuals. I guess like we have designed the system itself in different realms, different working groups, and those are reacting to the original design. So it's not only the individuals, but also the individuals, but the mechanics that have been embedded within the working groups in the systems in the different.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
I guess I was just thinking.
No.
If we had a shared language, with which to discuss that intersectionality, it might be helpful. Like in the same kind of way as
it would be helpful if we had any materials on that. I mean, I hear about it a lot.
Good bit of it, yeah.
Yeah, but
this is
he didn't share it here.
I think we should look at the top-down dynamics in the system, because we were like trying to incentivize those with the AI or with the token design, but we really didn't think about the top-down hierarchies that were established. So it's like this contrarian effect that was like having this immense voice into the community, but I think it was not seen. This was an unseen thing in the system, so we couldn't really know where to happen because it was not seen. It was in the dark space. So this is in the If we go back to our system, there were like several places we were like in the dark matter, in the dark space. This was one of them. Like the synergistic mechanisms that were embedded in the top-down hierarchies and the working different circles. And I think that comes down a little bit to that.
What exactly was the issue?
Was the issue like we were? I don't know. What's the issue? It's like my guess, my personal and ethical opinion, maybe in this moment. I don't know if it's like this is the actual working group or ethical the second focus group or not. But I would say, like, if I look back now, I think we started with this broad and super passionate and very inspiring guess of doing kind of new token designs with these ethical values. But those were too conducted by people that have a lot of power in the community, right? Or they were very busy. And so the working groups also became embedded with this kind of leadership that I don't say it's bad in a way, but it was proclaimed that stewards will be stewards as long as they want it, in a sense. So they were like putting their culture inside the working group, or I see like the working group embedded in this token mechanism. Some salaries by themselves were put up and they were distributed no matter what. So that was the mechanistic design of it. Like it was salary by hour and then by the culture of the working group. So that was a top-down dynamic. Even if we say, well, there was agreement, members, which is very I agree. But then you are putting out a system, a dynamic that is gonna recreate a certain kind of culture. Even if we are stating from the top down that we want the ethical values, then if we don't work with that inside the working groups too, and we have a culture that is spread across the working groups, in a sense, we, Omega, were the only ones focusing on this, right? So we didn't have the power dynamic to get to the other groups and saying, okay, guys, why don't we collaborate and have this common vision, but this is really a common vision, not a mechanization of the designs. So that's the top-down thing I'm seeing.
Yeah, but I believe it has a lot to do with not having enough learning material. I mean, where should anyone, are they going to come to Omega to learn about it? We cannot, I don't think it has even anything to do with power dynamics. It's about we just miss a lot of learning materials. We don't have any, and kind of the whole bonding curve should be funding public good of token engineering.
Power dynamics, not in a sense of an individual, but of the power of the same language engineering that way, not of an individual.
Well, and it's also true that people will tend to, if they're focusing on like this, I have lost track of the number of meetings that I've been where we're saying what the TEC is a do-ocracy. Do. So this is all we're doing, right? We're not studying, we're not thinking about how we're doing it, and everyone's so nice, and the culture is so nice, and everyone's so nice that we just kind of rely on that, right? So
very
rather than
very green, fantastically green. Yeah.
So,
oh,
so it's
okay.
so we somehow think that being nice is enough of a how, and it's not. I don't think.
Okay, but my question back again. Shall we? Do you want power dynamics as focus group 3, or can we at least have something about? Can we do something towards putting this forward? That the ethics
I think so.
is lacking some love from the community. Okay.
Yeah, I'd also be interested in supporting that working group. I mean that focus group.
So one thing we really need support with is what questions and how are they posed. Like, I'm sure there is a method to asking the right questions in the right way, and I don't know if I speak for the group. We don't really know, and that would be great to have your support there.
Yeah, sure. We will prepare an interview guide for each of the focus groups.
Like this, okay, perfect.
As soon as we have it narrowed down. So I think first we will write a paragraph each on each of the focus groups and make that as a proposal to really tie things down. Because the outcome of the focus group is going to be the better, the more focused we are on one theme or even question. So by bringing it to paper and then all kind of agreeing on that, having basically as a description that everyone reads before the focus group starts, really helps. And then as soon as we have agreed on these paragraphs, we will develop interview guides for each of these focus groups. Right? And these we will, I think, will be at least drafted by us, as there should be some kind of difference in the roles between us, facilitators, interviewers, and the participants to the focus group.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good.
I mean,
And
of
will
course,
you need any help with?
very diverse methods also in the focus group discussion. So it doesn't have to be like I don't know, some creative methods maybe as well, like short.
Yeah, we will prepare
brainstorming.
something.
We will
for
prepare
that.
something for the
Okay.
half, like to facilitate.
Okay, perfect. So, and the way I see it, like the most effective working groups and working group leads, we should. Okay, for the values, I would really suggest to sift through T comments, and we also asked Livia for support. 2-3 core values. I mean, SoftGov, it's literally the home of token engineering, commons values, all of the mission work. Do you have good contact to Livia? Livy? Yeah.
Ooh, I think I have her on Telegram.
Okay.
But
I'll
maybe we
ask
ask
her.
you after the call. Right?
Okay.
Okay, yes.
Okay, and I'll also ask her, and then maybe if she needs more background, and if she can make time, maybe this week we're lucky because it's the week in between Barcelona and Paris. Let's reach out to her. And I think she can also tell, okay, we had an update of the vision mission values, people voted on them and so on. So she really has the insights of values.
Right.
And then maybe she can help and say, oh yeah, let's pick these 3 because they were, I don't know, debated, what have you. Or maybe she also says, hey, let's look at those values that we, decided to put forth here. And I think Livy is really the go-to person there, and also help reaching out that we get a good representative of people new to token engineering commons, but also hedgers, the ones who basically pulled it off common stack people, but as well as token engineering origins and so on. Oh no, time. Okay. Is this okay? And the second one, I think Edu Communitas, because he or he has, who is the hedger and so on, that type of info, and who we should reach out to. And the reason I am proposing working groups is I believe these topics are also beneficial to those working groups, that we get also stakeholders interested in the outcomes of these focus groups, and of course the T ethics part from us, whatever you need, but we definitely need help in how to conduct this. Yeah, and then we get the people and we will be discussing. Okay, and in the analysis, if you need additional support there as well, we do our best, right? But yeah, just tell us.
Okay, great.
Okay, cool. Good. That's an update.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time. It was been more than half an hour now.
No, most welcome, and we wanted to do it so often. It was just being sick and everything. I also heard that you had your adventures, so good to hear. All recovered.
Yeah.
Okay.
May I just use
Cool.
the occasion? We just published the call for the Crypto Commons Gathering 22. That is going to happen as the second edition of the Crypto Commons Gathering, again in the Austrian Alps at the Crypto Commons Hub. And it starts on August 27th and ends on September 2nd. So it's 7 full days. And it's a conference on the state of art of crypto commons, both theoretical questions and more practical and political and embedded discussions. Pretty much everything but price.
Yeah, yeah. No, I already said Marit is someone who would really benefit from connecting with crypto commons, I think. But he just left, I see. But yeah, definitely also share the link.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll do that here.
Okay, so now we get to our business as usual. Is it okay if we take a bit more time today, maybe 10, 15 minutes more? I just wanted to, yeah, okay. Okay, this is
updates from the what's new in the document from our Nelson. So that's the last update we have from Nick.
Yeah, I think this current objective, I like this. It's like we're like a flock, and depending on how much budget, energy budget we have, and then what is currently drawing, energizing or needs our energies, it's kind of we're moving. So current objective, it also shows dynamics. So it's I definitely like that. To focus of all of that's really such a pity, but it is what it is. I mean, she did so much and supporting or creating support. Satori, so this facilitating of calls and so on, as Satori isn't here. I almost feel like yeah, it would be great if we continue with this type of innovation and experimenting that's going on. But Satori is this week at the very least on the road, he said. Yeah. And I guess, you know, if I have to facilitate, then I will fall back to my coping mechanism, which is like, okay, what needs most attention? And try to get things done.
Do.
do. Exactly.
Get it done.
I mean,
As soon as you can.
I would love to actually finish stuff and get back to original Omega. I don't know how you all feel about that. But, you know, saying this is an inner work group and then having all
I mean,
this.
we are discussing price of token and living columns. Like, what is happening with the vesting and the investing mechanism? We need to crack that up to be able to fund public goods. So it's really, it's the intersection of everything.
I know. So I kind of also, you know, trust that we're gonna crack it in our experiments.
It's something that is opening the space too, so we don't have to claim we will be having the answer already. That's not ethical at all.
Yeah. So Deb, improve pitch, collective curation. What is the collective curation in Deb? Do you know?
Maybe, well, they were experimenting with this, and I think they were kernel, so maybe they have the collective curation is a mirror board for when the discussions they were having around the dynamic. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah.
But I guess it's
so this
they were doing the George Bataille books too, so maybe they did.
So Deb is you know, Jean's research calling, like Imaginarium is a calling of Satori and so on, and we just always need to be or need to, you know, if we do here that we kind of contextualize, right? So and that for me is totally in context. The way I see is like asking, okay, what are the insights, what is new, and then trying to use it as metaphor. I don't know how you see it, Letty. You've been also more active in depth calls, or at least more than me. Um, Here, do you have any insights about how it will connect already, or is it still in this research?
Yeah, I think it was like a branch, really, of our research and trying to come up with these new ways of being able to account for yes, and devise maybe an experiment ways of accounting for energy value flows, which are very connected to with Sally Gerner's papers. So it's like a research question, and I see as we are seeing any research question takes time. And if we are pressed on the design or the results of that design, we are just specifying and being a use case as the posted in the original question. How do you want art and public goods without really having the availability to have a super budget at the very beginning? So it's like we are actually guinea pigs. It's like we are experimenting with this. Seeing this is really what is happening.
Exactly.
So it's like the learning result is, in my view, is that like we need this and we are experimenting in our own bodies and minds and emotions.
But so from our experience, though, there is a saying in the startup world: the moment you take other people's money, their business model becomes your business model.
Yes, we are part of a business and we experiment.
You know, and now the business model all of a sudden turns out to make profit, so show profit even.
Yeah, but I don't see benefits as a problem, because benefits can be in a lot of realms for the human spirit and mind. So if just proclaim and say that the problem is profit and the benefit, we are in a scarcity mind, and that's really a linear. So I don't think that's really the question. But yes, it's perfect too.
No, but again, from that experience, if we would for regenerative workflows, for supporting that research, if we would really ask for funding, to support the research and people are doing this, right? I would say let's make this super explicit, right? Because what I don't appreciate at all is, after every Steward's call, somehow Marit and last time also Manu come in super stressed out. What is the status? Number one, I really want everyone to read Agile 2. That's a really good collaboratively written handbook, I would say, on the status of
writing for the radical lean agile too, so that's our other branch of research. Radical lean agile.
Yeah, I mean, Radical Agile, it was great, but I couldn't find anything on it. But at least in Agile too, it starts with Agile is broken. Stop harassing software engineers, software developers.
Radical agile.
Well, the same is true. Stop harassing scientists and artists. It is a non-linear process. You can't ask every week for updates and then also not get
that's super
get
broken.
it.
We don't realize how broken is that, and we continue doing it. So it's like we are broken.
Yeah, no, and
I'm
like
laughing because
literally.
this paradox make me laugh. I don't know why, but it's hilarious. We proclaim, agile is broken, but this is what you.
Yeah. So let's make this a main case that anyone advising on that proposal or putting their conviction on really has to provide feedback on that topic, because it's like how Durgada says, when it comes to it, it's like, oh, but we have to get things done, and report on progress. And again, in the startup world, there's a word for it, vanity metrics, right? You show progress and then you show big numbers. And then we are onboarding 170, I don't know, people are growing, more and more people are coming in. Coming into what? Did we produce more public goods in token engineering? That should be the metric, right? So again, I'd really like next time also for the proposal version 2. The thing is, the library is simple. But for the regenerative workflows, if you go for funding that, I would really make that a big point, and really see to it that we get people who fund. It's again, there's a word for it. It's called smart money. That's money or funding that comes from people who are really interested in the same outcome or in the same insights that you are interested in your research, right, or in your startup. So, and then this whole distribution of funds, V1 library, we are doing it like you suggested, right, Letty? No one, or were there any other?
No, I guess we need to sign. Or it has to be distributed yet, as far as I know.
Okay, so I'll just chase Mart to explain and also to list the wallets, who's signing and so on. And once we have that, I updated the others on Monday, so we have an opportunity to work with Magic Powered. They're really interested in the whole self-discovery navigation or gamified navigation, and they're really good in not truncating complexity, but helping make things simple for the start. And I don't know if how much funds we will have left, how much you can share with them for making at least some mock-ups, but high fidelity mock-ups is what they really do well. And if we could capture in the mock-ups really the progress that people in Imaginarium made with this choose your own adventure, and then whilst discovering knowledge, you discover yourself and you discover connections to other token engineers, and there's the potential of not mentorship by assignment, but mentorship by encounters, which is super interesting. So there, I really see no issues actually. And there was just one idea about, yeah. So since I don't know, ethics, I don't know if the other value system, private profit versus common benefit, I don't know, it's maybe political economy or so, but definitely philosophy, law, and ethics is one petal of the crypto economics flower. And what I was thinking, I don't know, maybe it resonates or we have more better ideas, is if you, for example, are going to have a Discord for the library, and we have these curation level channels which could have interconnections, we could also have petals. And for example, there could be the focus group 3 could be in in the ethics petal of that Discord. And maybe those focus groups or those discussions or the library Discord could become a place where we hold such sense making sessions or such gatherings like the focus group and so on. I don't know if that resonates somehow, but that we have a community or a learning space for that, or a space where we can already build connections before even or whilst we are developing the library.
There was actually this core server being created by Nick, but we are like there 4 or 5 people because this was made when we were trying to come up with, okay, do we need like a separate way to contain all the creations? So it was like two threads of decisions, like Discord or going directly to the wireframes doing the library. So that's why we were like deciding what, and this was created, but it's not being like
used
upon. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think? I mean, even if that there needs to be a place more than the thread in Omega, where discussions around the library can happen, both while building it as well as while using prototypes or building or doing curations and so on.
Yes, and we had that feeling that we needed like this whole user experience, so we were creating on the Omega, but we have like the Discord, the specific library Discord server maybe, because we were weaving with also with Communitas and with SoftGov to have this kind of container too, and at the same time we were creating. So maybe it was too much for us to cope with, but we were doing all these kind of workflows, having the Discord server, having the library created to have the NFT game. So it was all coming together in a sense. So yes, I agree. And if we do the refi creation, maybe with the bootcamp, we maybe have the repositories or create something like more responsive for that.
Okay, so the refi bootcamp is starting this Friday, but it is very dynamic as well. I don't know if we are going to get them immediately, but they're already creating reading lists and so on.
Yeah, and I was shared also an Excel doc from one of the mentors there, and he's already like rating this Excel doc, and I was shared there, and I think I have to post this in our collective curation threads from Omega, so we can just say, okay, continue this Excel, do we go to other, so really linking this with our Omega.
Okay, cool. Okay, good. Then I don't want to take more of your times. Okay, I will chase Matt for the distribution of funds and then definitely be more active on wrapping up and then creating a design spec from what has been done, and hopefully with the support of Magic Part even creating a few good mock-ups that capture the essence but put it out there beautifully, so we get appropriate funding and support for actually building out. But from there, I think it's really a thing on its own. We can definitely add a token model there, and it already has various outlets like the gallery of staff. Satori is thinking to link in it to Minds and so on. I'll definitely link it somehow to the book, and whatever any one of us comes up with. There's these multiplying value flows where we can generate revenues and can it's like Steph's cups, fill the cups and then also flow back to the omega, not omega, but to the consciousness library. I think that will be quite easy, and it will be also a sync for tech tokens. So I think it's really a good, really good effort, worthwhile effort.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for leading us again to this original question.
I don't know. It's like a coping mechanism. as I said, if you don't have
with success.
Yeah. If you don't have the people who can, energize additional areas, it's just going to fall back to the minimum.
Yeah, that's the
Which
thing.
is
Like
still
we had
big.
that because that was like a form for us to experiment with our current energy types. That's what I also love human design, and maybe that's like something we need to explore more in a sense, because it's like if we don't update our energy footprints or imprints, we fall back again, and if there is no more energy coming into the system, it's true that we'll be optimizing for as the original, let's say, thing, like for the egoistic mind. So it's like, yeah, we are saying that.
But yeah, again, I mean, when Satori is back, I'm sure he can do some different facilitation. I definitely know that we need these type of shakers. Okay, thank you everyone for your participation as always, and really look forward to the token engineering focus groups. So let's oh yeah, one question: does anyone of you have a good contact or open communication to Edu and Communitas? It's not urgent as of immediately, but as mentioned, like the second focus group, I think Edu would be perfect supporter to reaching out. Okay. Okay, good. Then I would say we get it all covered, and I'll share the updates tomorrow. And also in the community call, I can directly ask for their support. Okay.
If you feel like, because maybe that's also a self-imposed obligation to be up to share this on the community call. So it's really up to you.
You can share it.
You know that.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Well.
What?
I should look what calls do I have tomorrow, but yeah, maybe I can update the slide at least.
I'll update the slides. Yeah.
Okay.
No. No, all good. No, I can do that. Cool. I was just thinking if you're up for it, always.
Yeah, it depends sometimes on my actual feeling of the energy. Yeah.
No worries. Actually, it's quite a quick fix for me. I can do that. No worries. Okay, then we'll see each other next week again.
See you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.